If you can't do the time, and I can't believe I'm saying this, don't do the crime. We spend a lot of our time talking about a certain convicted felon, and we will be doing that for a lot more time.
All 34 of the charges against Donald Trump were found to be true. Is it really possible for you to believe this? He was the first American president to have this title.
This is truly an historic moment as Donald Trump becomes the first U.S. president convicted of a crime. Although, once they almost nailed Martin Van Buren for hot-wiring a horse. On Thursday evening, Donald Trump was found guilty on all 34 counts.
Trump's legal troubles have long been expected, and now the time has come for him to pay the price. In spite of this, Trump declined to accept accountability for the circumstances and instead opted to play the victim in the way he always does. Colbert was not going to put up with it, even if he was out there acting like he was being unfairly persecuted. This is a fantastic illustration of Colbert's approach. The way he speaks, the more absurd Trump's worries seem. But it extended beyond Trump's conviction as well. Colbert also followed Trump's absurd claims and flawed defenses of himself. Like the Pillsbury Doughboy trying to depict himself, Trump is out there trying to paint the judge as some sort of evil.
Who looks like an angel, but he's really a devil. He looks so nice and soft.
Nice? Nice and soft? As you think of the judge or the Pillsbury Doughboy?
Yes, you did hear it correctly. The illusions of Donald Trump are utterly irrational. He is willing to draw these absurd comparisons because he is so determined to draw attention away from his own actions. And on top of that, Colbert is standing there poking holes in his claims and keeping him from moving an inch. But first, let's take the opposite course. Here is a synopsis of the legal narrative around Trump for the benefit of readers who may not be fully informed. The former president was found to have been found guilty on 34 counts related to payments of hush money made during his 2016 presidential campaign. It is not just one small infraction that has landed Trump in hot water. Rather, it is a substantial string of charges. The fact that a former president is currently serving time in prison for a crime is also noteworthy.
The adult film actress who claims she had an affair with President Trump wants to make a deal tonight. She is offering to give up the money she got paid to keep quiet so she can tell her story.
What we did get was a thorough retelling of their one night of passionate sexing when Trump and Stormy became the celebrity couple Stumpy.
It was only a matter of time until Colbert felt the need to lighten the topic with a little historical humor. Despite this, it is very clear how serious the situation is. Donald Trump's legacy and prospects of returning to politics will be profoundly impacted by his conviction. The fact that he is reacting poorly is hardly surprising. When the outcome was announced in the Trump Tower lobby, Trump's meltdown was already well underway. He gave a brief demonstration of his usual outbursts, in which he yells that he has been unfairly singled out. He keeps doing the same song and dance that we have witnessed him do many times. Colbert's takedown is clear-cut and effective. He is highlighting the ridiculousness of Trump's claim that taking responsibility for your actions is somehow unfair. The fact that no one is above the law, regardless of wealth or social standing, should not come as a surprise. On the other side, Trump persisted there. The judge overseeing his trial was then attacked, with him being accused of being prejudiced and unjust. When things have gone wrong for Trump in the past, he has employed this strategy, which is to point fingers at those who are to blame. Colbert was able to break through Trump's bravado and expose the desperation that was behind his remarks by using his razor-sharp analysis and fast humor. Trump's criticism of the judge is only a smokescreen to draw attention away from the fact that he was found guilty by a jury of his peers based on the evidence that was provided. When the facts are taken into account, Trump's own remarks usually do more harm than good. In a recent interview with Fox News, he repeated the ridiculous assertion that he never used the phrase, "lock her up," when running for president in 2016. It would be easy for anyone with a memory to refute this myth.
Said regarding Hillary Clinton, lock her up.
Hillary Clinton, I didn't say lock her up, but the people don't say lock her up, lock her up.
It's simpler for comedians like Colbert to take aim at Trump when he makes these kinds of flagrantly false comments. His willingness to change history and ignore the truth makes him a great target for mockery. It's also true that even in situations where Trump's flaws are evident, his fans usually agree with him. The best thing about it is this: Trump's defenses are not only utterly ridiculous, but also predictable. He's always trying to assign blame, always acting like the victim in every situation. However, Colbert and other late-night programs exist to expose him, to act as a mirror to his actions, and to show the general public how ridiculous they are. There are other people that are receiving criticism besides Trump. Attention is also focused on his supporters, the loyal MAGA mob members. Colbert routinely interviews pro-Donald Trump individuals during his programs. These people will jump to the defense of their idol, no matter how ludicrous their justification. It's astounding how much conceptual dissonance many who back Trump are displaying. They are willing to overlook his inadequacies, wrongdoings, and lies because their beliefs are so firmly established. Colbert delivers incredibly exhilarating entertainment because he is so adept at drawing attention to these contradictions. Nevertheless, let us go back to Trump's statement. Sources close to Trump said that after watching Colbert's show, he became irritated and is now acting out in a fit of rage. He said that the job was impolite and unfair. It seems that he is unable of even putting up with the taste of his own medication. Trump's time is obviously over. Additionally, you should just keep watching if you're not convinced. Stephen Colbert blasted President Donald Trump once more, as always, using his razor-sharp sense of humor and his ability to get right to the point. Colbert's constant jabs were not only amusing, but they also provided a harsh critique of the amazing scandals that Trump has been a part of since he left government. Stephen Colbert ridiculed Donald Trump's ability to stay aware at his court appearance on May 7, 2024. He said that this was a rare event that needed to be discussed. Conversely, Trump faced consequences for breaking a gag order for the second time in a short period of time. The backdrop for Trump's jokes in this episode is the New York hush money trial, in which he was charged with paying money to refute allegations of an affair during the 2016 presidential campaign. New York was the site of the trial. Apparently, the goal of these payments was to make sure that his personal life did not interfere with his ambitions to become president.
A case where if they can do this to me, they can do this to anyone.
It could happen to anyone who commits crimes. That felt truer than him getting elected. And, of course, Ms. Daniels fleshed out the story a bit with a disturbing amount of flesh. At the Trump org, McConney was tasked with getting Michael Cohen paid back for the hush money, and he confirmed that the checks to Cohen came from Trump's personal bank account.
Not only has this specific instance attracted national attention because of the disturbing aspects it contains, but it also raises important issues regarding the rules governing campaign finance and appropriate presidential behavior. Colbert makes fun of Trump's actions in court and recommends that a more thorough accountability system be put in place. It is not a small matter when someone repeatedly defies a gag order. It calls into question the standards of conduct that are required of public figures in particular. This raises concerns about equity and justice, particularly the question of whether people in positions of authority are held to unequal standards. Stephen Colbert seized the chance to express his opinions in response to this. Stephen Colbert brought up Donald Trump's complaints during his trial about the jury's bias, pointing to the jury's predominantly Democratic makeup as the cause. He made fun of Trump's complaints about how fast the selection process moved along, and he made hints that none of his real peers were present because, well, none of them fit his specific interests and way of living. He was funny in the manner he expressed this. Trump's remarks against the jury serve as an example of his ongoing propensity to cast doubt on the authority of organizations and legal systems that directly conflict with his own objectives. Trump has regularly criticized judges and court judgments during his presidency and the ensuing legal challenges, especially when the rulings have gone against him. This is particularly valid when he has received favorable decisions. However, it doesn't end there. Furthermore, Stephen Colbert went above and beyond while discussing Trump's unique historical situation. As Stephen Colbert pointed out in a lighthearted way, Donald Trump has the chance to create history by being the first former president to face the prospect of incarceration. But this will not be an opportunity presented the way most presidents would like. Subsequently, Stephen Colbert went on to ridicule the enormous joke he had devised about the first big check that Trump had made to Stormy Daniels. According to him, a more contemporary approach would have involved using an online payment service like Zelle, which is renowned for being user-friendly. This was a reference to Trump's choice to pay back Michael Cohen, his former lawyer. Personal handwritten checks, Colbert said in a derisive manner. Stormy Daniels, an adult film actress, was reportedly paid $130,000 by Donald Trump via his lawyer Michael Cohen.
Did you know about the $130,000 payment to Stormy Daniels? Then why did Michael Cohen make this?
Today, Today, to explain how Trump reimbursed Michael Cohen for paying off Stormy Daniels in 2016, the prosecution called a new witness.
Was it hush money to stay silent?
Yes. The story was coming out again. I was concerned for my family and their safety.
Have done things I am not proud of, and I will live with the consequences of my actions for the rest of my life.
To stay quiet about an alleged affair that happened years ago. The payments in question have their roots in the 2016 presidential campaign, when Stormy Daniels was reported to have received the funds, given that the payment was made just a few days prior to the 2016 presidential election. There is a great deal of ambiguity around both the payment's date and intended purpose. Hush money was paid to Daniels against her will in order to prevent her from telling her story to the public, which could have hurt Trump's prospects of winning the election. In a later statement, Michael Cohen revealed that he had received payment from Donald Trump, who had represented these reimbursements as legal costs in his firm's records.
He asked me to pay off an adult film star with whom he had an affair and to lie about it to his wife, which I did.
President Trump has denied the affair. Today, the White House and Michael Cohen did not respond to our requests for comment.
Continue to strenuously object to this, and we know that there was also a sidebar with the lawyers over Stormy Daniels' testimony so far.
For years, Stormy was bound by a non-disclosure agreement and couldn't talk about her time with Trump, and Necklace went after her for eventually breaking her silence.
Cohen made his remarks after Trump had already given him payment. Despite everything that was happening, Trump found it difficult to remain silent. For an eternity, he talked endlessly about Mar-a-Lago, and knowing Colbert, he would not ignore the steps that Trump had made. On May 6, 2024, Donald Trump expressed his dissatisfaction with the routine of taking pictures with donors at a Mar-a-Lago gathering. It was an occasion to honor the presidential campaign. In a way that is characteristic of him, Stephen Colbert brought this topic to the public's attention. Colbert informed the crowd that they didn't give enough money to avoid being photographed, in an attempt to play off Trump's accusation that he had to take a lot of pictures. This was done to downplay the severity of the criticism. There are times when individuals get the notion that political fundraising is a transactional activity, and this joke calls attention to that kind of thinking. During his presidency, Donald Trump has been involved in planning and attending a number of fundraising events, especially at his private estate in Mar-a-Lago. The gatherings that are taking place are not just informally thrown. Rather, Trump's group is consciously planning these parties as fundraisers to raise money for his political campaigns and other causes.
He hosted a dinner at Mar-a-Lago for buyers of his NFT trading cards. Last time an ex-president did that was when Jimmy Carter had a carnival booth where he'd sign your peanut. Oh, he had his own Widow Comic-Con.
The supporters must fork over substantial sums of money, up to $200,000 per person, in order to gain entry to these gatherings. They are regularly offered exclusive access to President Trump in return, including chances to have dinners with him, deliver speeches in private, and have official photos taken. These gatherings not only give guests a significant financial boost, but also foster a sense of privilege and loyalty, which strengthens their bond with Trump's political brand. This is a result of the high costs associated with these gatherings, as well as their exclusivity. The bond between Trump and his supporters is one element that makes them unique. He has been able to maintain an open and strong relationship with his base of support by using his charisma and adhering to a clear communication plan. He has the capacity to use fundraising events held at venues like Mar-a-Lago to pay for his legal fees, in addition to using his personal connections to influence politics. After all of the discussion, there is still one more question that needs to be addressed. When Trump leaves office, what choices will be made about the trials he is presently facing?